is such a privilege because I have had the privilege of mentoring her, but I also truly adore who she is. Watching her grow into her leadership has been so inspiring, and it's just so bold and purposeful. So Ashley Borromeo is a movement and mindset coach. She's an entrepreneur, she's a mentor, and she's dedicated to women unlocking that confidence, that joy, that alignment. And she does it through dance and leadership together. So that's really cool. With over 20 years of experience as a professional dance instructor and a studio owner and a business owner, she has built a thriving community that empowers individuals. And she does it with the movement tool. So through her signature coaching programs and master classes, Ashley guides women to break free of doubt, step into their power, and dance through life with purpose. She is passionate about creating spaces where women are seen and heard and supported in their leadership journey. And Ashley, I am so proud of you. And I'm going to start with this first question. Before we get all into the how do you do all those things, I really want to start with the why. Why, Ashley, have you been called to do this work and to help women reconnect with themselves through movement, mindset, and leadership?
Thank you. Debbie, thank you for the beautiful introduction. Karen Hall, you're running a marathon here and you're doing it with such grace and beauty and energy, and I'm deeply inspired. Why is pretty simple. It's because I was realizing that there were people in my own personal life that as we get older, we don't move as much, and we need something to get us up. And it is really, what is your why is what I'm going with here, but it is finding joy. And so dance brings me joy. And I know that when people find joy in their life, it will allow them to do more of it, right? We don't need more work. We don't need to work out. We don't need more fitness. We need more fun. And so I realized, I've been dancing for a long time, and I'm grateful for all that it has made me aware of in my life and helped shape me into for character and all of the things that it's connected me to people. But really it's about fun. At the end of the day, I will move my body if it's fun. And so why? I want more people to move their body. So many of our speakers on this symposium today have talked about the connection between mind, body, right? The health, the well-being. It's what they've all said. And I could say all the names, but it's everybody. Everybody has said the same thing about we have to be the best version of us and lead us. So thank you, Debbie, for that question. And I want people to have fun. I want, like Kimberly, follow the fun, follow the joy. Yes, that.
Exactly. We need more fun in our life. Oh my goodness. And that's one of the things about Ashley is you are so bright and you are just so full of energy. And when you speak, you have this captivating way that just draws people in. And so I appreciate so much what you exemplify in your own life. And so I want to talk a little bit about turning challenges into opportunities, because I know that many times when we have gone through challenges in our own personal life, we learn skills that we can use as leaders and turn that into that opportunity. Could you tell us about some things that have happened in your life that have been challenges?
Yeah, man, I just had like 5 different things pop in my head. I'm going to go with one that felt like a challenge in the moment. It felt like this scary dance, but it was not a challenge that was defeating. It was a challenge that was bringing more possibility and opportunity, but it took me a little bit to recalibrate that, to go through that dance. And I think we all have those things. I forget who it was earlier today was talking about, we dropped the glass and we're like, oh my gosh, we don't have a complete set anymore. I don't remember who that was. Gosh, there were so many notes I have. And then it was also, or, right. We meet somebody and we fall in love and we marry them and they change our lives. And so this challenge, for me that's coming to mind is I bought my first business. I took over a studio that I was being mentored to take over. When I was 18 years old, I purchased it. I went through the whole official business acquisition of that. And I realized I was very young and I was grateful and it was so amazing. And there was challenges in that process, first of all, but I knew I wanted to still dance. And in the dance world, you only have that same body and strength and ability to be at your prime for a certain amount of years. And so I knew that if I didn't lean into that, that I would regret it, not just for me, but for me as a leader. And that's what we're here talking about today, is I wouldn't be able to lead the other dancers that I would be in contact with over the years if I didn't step into all of me. So for a couple years, about 2 years, year and a half, I actually owned my studio in Florida, and I commuted to New York City as often as I could, sometimes every 2 months, sometimes every 3-4 months. And I had staff, I had a team that I was managing back home, and all of our 350 students and all the parents. And I realized
at 18, let's just emphasize that at 18, unbelievable. Managing a dance studio, 350 students, commuting back and forth to New York City. Wow, Ashley, let's just hats off to you at 18, and what a natural leader you are. Just have to say that one more time, so it didn't escape everybody out there in the world.
Karen. Thank you. But I have to say, in that, I had an amazing mentor that taught me so much. And I had so many incredible women, which at the time I didn't realize this, kind of like Elizabeth was just saying, I didn't realize I had so many women, the sisterhood that was supporting me, but I had so many moms that were mothering me. They were moms of my students, but they were mothering me. They were like, go, do it. You're inspiring our kids. You're leading by example. You're doing all the things. And that's a core value of mine. It probably came from this season of life, actually, now that we're saying it. But so I went back and forth for a bit, and it was a really big challenge. I didn't want to let people down back home. And I knew that if I didn't keep going, I would let me down as of now, as in that moment, and my future self and my students that were watching, my future. Like, I just knew there was this big, so I had to kind of go all in one way. So I came back and said, I'm not going to do the New York thing. And I said, no, after I did that, I didn't tell anybody else that. I kept that to myself. And I was like, I'll just stay here. And then after a while, I was like, no, I can't. I have to go all in there. But that was really a challenging season of my life. It was really, really hard. And in the dance world, if anybody has ever been in part of the dance world, or any sort of space where you kind of grow up together and you move through a sport or an activity where it's the same group of people a lot, you become family. And I felt like I was like, am I going to be letting people down, or am I going to be leading? I wasn't sure. It was a hard dance.
Right. And in the dance world, there's so much judgment, that you're dealing with. Like Sandy was talking about, Sandy Scarlotta, being a professional figure skater, and so much judgment. Can you tell us about how you dealt with the judgment in the dance world?
Oh, sure. One example comes to mind, Karen. I interned before this phase of life. At 17, I interned in New York City at an incredible dance studio there called Broadway Dance Center. And I interned for about 2.5 months. And at one point, I went to go take a dance class at a different studio. And I was asked to please leave. And it wasn't just any dance class. I'm a tap dancer. Like, that's what I teach online right now. I've done jazz, I've done ballet, I've done all the things in the dance world. You have to kind of train them all. But I would never in my life say I'm a ballet dancer, because one, I can't remember half the terminology half the time. And I pronounce it with a Southern accent sometimes. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I was in a ballet class, and I was asked to leave. And I was asked to leave because my thighs were too big. And I remember the girl behind me, her name was Danielle, and she was also asked to leave. And she was a very, beautiful jazz dancer, also a gymnast, had grown up with cheerleading. So you talk about thighs. They were straight muscle. It was like Simone Biles' thighs. I was like, this girl's gorgeous. You're just jealous. That's what I was thinking in my head. And in the moment, that was the first time I think I really felt rejection directly at me, Karen. Other than that, I have to say I've been very grateful my whole life that I've had incredible people support